active ingredients is Viagra, but because it's generic, you pay 90% less. That's right, 90% less. A whole month's supply is just $30, and it's sent right to your home for free in discreet packaging. Hims offers the same medication you'd get from your doctor, but without the copay, expensive appointments, or awkward face-to-face conversations. And with Hims, every online visit is free, and your relationship right back on track. For a free online consultation, go to forhims.com/joy. That's forhims.com/joy for your free visit. forhims.com/joy.
It's time for Power Hour with Sami Kincaid, highlighting, discussing, and focusing on women's athletics around the country. From the pros to the amateurs, from high schools to colleges, Sammy's got you covered. Join Power Hour now on the Cure Brand Hotline, 615-844-5600. 615-844-5600. Now, here's your host of Power Hour, Sami Kincaid.
Welcome into Power Hour with Sami Kincaid. I am Sami Kincaid, and we have a great show planned for you today. We're going to start things out with Laura Rutledge, who will come on in just a second. We also have head coach of Fairview High School, Chris Hughes. And yes, you just heard Chris. We do have a male coming on the show today, but hear how he is impacting and empowering the next generation of young women. And we also have Vanderbilt Athletics, Aisha Evans, coming in later on in the second half of the show. But first off, I said it, Laura Rutledge, host of ESPN's year-round weekday NFL news and information show, NFL Live, and SEC Network's SEC Nation, which is where I met her. Laura, how you doing today?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be with you, Sami.
I am so happy you could join me today and talk a little bit SEC ball. We'll go a little bit around all of college football, but first off, let's start out in the SEC. How do you really see we're a week out? What are you feeling right now?
Oh, goodness. Well, first of all, I'm so excited. There's just nothing like that feeling when you know that there's so much hope across the country, so much hope in the Southeastern Conference amongst all the teams. We don't know what's going to happen. There's so many things that are unknown, and I realize that everyone feels like Alabama's going to just win the national championship. And listen, they probably are. But there's a whole lot more that can happen in the journey to get to that point. And I just think there's a lot of promise amongst a lot of teams. I'm really excited to actually see what Georgia does this year as a team that I think people are overlooking in big ways. I realize they lost so many people and so many talented players, but they return a lot of talent. I think Tennessee's being overlooked in a lot of big ways. And then I got to throw Florida in there, not just because
just
they're
your alma mater,
but because I really can't wait to see what Billy Napier does with this squad and to see what Anthony Richardson looks like at the quarterback spot. I think, you see him as a player that's a total freak of nature and brings so much to the table with just that skill set that cannot be replicated, but how do they use that and how does it translate potentially in games? So I could go on for days, but I'm so excited to get the season started.
Absolutely. And one SEC team you did not mention, and with the Tennessee and me being my alma mater, I'm kind of glad you didn't mention them being one of the top teams, but Vanderbilt will be the first SEC team we see in about a week from now, and they're playing at Hawaii. How do you see that? Do you see their non-conference schedule going well? They're at Hawaii, then they have Elon at home, Wake Forest, number 22 at home, and then they go on the road to Northern Illinois. How do you think they will do in their non-conference schedule to start the season out?
Yeah, well, first of all, I tried to campaign for SEC Nation to go to Hawaii, and I got overruled, but I thought that would be a whole lot of fun. But, look, I mean, Clark Lee at SEC Media Days I thought was so impressive, and it was funny because my mom always watches, she actually went to Clemson, but she always watches if I'm on stuff, and she even messaged me, and she said, Clark Lee is, great to listen to. And listen, that's it, right? He brings so much to the table when it comes to the press conferences and when it comes to the culture he's creating at Vanderbilt. And we're just waiting to see that truly translate. And I do believe that it will. I know some people may say, well, you're just buying into what he's selling and you're drinking the Kool-Aid and all those cliches people say, but I believe he's the right man for that job. And so you think about, some experience at the quarterback spot, showed a little bit of promise last year, and just a foundation at Vandy that's being built by Clark Lee. I think they can be better than people are expecting. Do I think that means they win games? Maybe not. That's what is tough about this is they can look a lot better and still in the gauntlet that is the SEC. And even, as you mentioned, their non-conference schedule, it's going to be difficult. I mean, I think they're a better team than Hawaii, but Hawaii isn't just a team that's going to, lay down at home and say, yeah, sure, come on in here, Vanderbilt. So I do think that's an early test, especially with time zone differences and all the challenges of a big trip like that. But look, to me, if you're a Vandy fan, you look at this year and say, okay, we understand that this is a major rebuild in a lot of ways, and what type of promise can we see in being competitive in some of these games? And I believe they will be at times, and I think unfortunately, that's about the best that you can expect if we're just being honest about it, but that is how great teams and great programs are built.
And again, you're listening to Power Hour with Sami Kincaid. Right now, joined with Laura Rutledge. We're talking some SEC ball, Vandy specifically. And, we were just talking about their non-conference schedule. Let's go ahead and jump into conference. It's pretty tough. You got Bama, Ole Miss, then at Georgia. That's three very tough teams to start out in the SEC. How do you think that is going to really set them back? While they can maybe handle the non-conference, that's really tough mid-season like that.
Yeah, and that's where I think, Clark Lee and coaching staff are going to be focused on how can they be as fundamentally sound as possible. And that may sound like coach speak, but that's where you hope, you catch a team, one of those big-name teams like a Bama, like an Ole Miss, like a Georgia. Georgia at home is real tough, but, a couple of these big teams that are having to come on the road and early kick and stuff like that, and you hope you catch them unawares in some way and maybe can surprise them a little bit, make it a little bit more competitive than people might expect. And I do think it comes down to remembering that, they're not bereft at the quarterback position. There's some talent across the board. They have some talent on defense too. It's just putting it together and making sure that they're not shooting themselves in the foot against these big-time opponents. That you can't afford any mistakes against an Alabama. So even though a lot of teams are overmatched against Alabama, so they may be overmatched when it comes to the Crimson Tide, but how do you handle what you can control? And I believe that'll be the message from the coaching staff in those weeks. And listen, Ole Miss is kind of interesting because they're going to be a totally different team without Matt Corral and some of the players that they have now had to move on from, or have moved on from them, I guess is a better way to put it. So you don't know what they may be dealing with. And that's one that I would sort of circle as an opportunity for Vandy to potentially be really competitive or maybe even surprise a big-name squad with a coach in Lane Kiffin that a lot of people are always fascinated to see what he does.
Yeah, and that's at home. So if you're going to do it, you at least got the home field advantage. So we're a week out from week one. Who do you think is going to be the upset in week one?
Yeah, so I think when you think about upsets and opportunities early on, it's hard to really know what any of these squads are really going to do. But as much as I'm high on Georgia and as much as I like what they're bringing back, I wouldn't be shocked if Oregon ends up finding a way to win that game. And I say that and also say that it doesn't, to me, knock Georgia out of the college football playoff because they still have the rest of the season to prove themselves, and they still potentially, go up against Alabama in the SEC championship and win the SEC East and have that opportunity, and then who knows from there. But that's just a really early test, especially against Dan Lanning, who was Georgia's defensive coordinator, has a ton of familiarity with the team, and knows some of their weaknesses. So that's one that I'm really looking out for early.
I love it. And just for everyone, since this is a newer show, for everyone that's listening in, this is highlighting women in sports. I'm really excited to have other women in sports come on the show, talk sports with me. But being a woman in sports, Laura, you posted last night. Well, yesterday you were at the Seahawks practice, and then last night you posted, and now all is around the world. You posted a picture with your daughter, Reese. So can you just talk to me what it means to you and just how you kind of balance being a mom to the cutest little girl, but you're also traveling. I'm pretty sure, aren't you in New York today? So you're really all over the place.
Yeah, well, first of all, I love the premise of this show, Sammy, and it's just such a cool thing to be able to have a station that would support this. So I think that's exceptional, and you are absolutely the right person for this job. So just huge congratulations for you on that side of things. And you're a new mom, so you're new to some of this. I'm a relatively new mom too. Reese is going to be 3 in October, but it's one of those things that I do think is probably an undertold story in being a woman in sports and being a wife, being a mother, and just all the things that we juggle and trying to make it all look okay. And the whole time, you're missing your babies and you're wanting to get home and you're wanting to, not be pulled in so many different directions. And what I found is that, the thing that's really cool, I think, for Reese to see is that her mom does work a lot. And then also when I'm home, I'm really trying to be as present with her as possible. And I admire stay-at-home moms so much because I'm not sure if there's a tougher job out there just, to be there 100% of the time. And yet I do struggle with a lot of guilt all the time of feeling like I'm leaving her and I'm not there and I'm missing important things. And so I think it's just a daily battle of trying to find what's going to make it work the best for you and your family in that day. And just always remembering that, keeping yourself happy and your mental health at the forefront, even though sometimes that's hard to do, is also a great way to make sure that your child is happy and healthy and being raised with an open mind.
Absolutely. I love that. And we just mentioned you're busy. You're always on the road. So what is the next stop for you?
Well, as you said, I'm headed to Jets practice today. It's actually Jets-Falcons joint practice because I'm doing their preseason game, the Jets and the Falcons, on Monday Night Football on Monday. So that's kind of what's next. And then I'll be back to NFL Live after that starting next week. And then we gear up for the season, which is, NFL Live every day. Then I travel to the SEC Nation site on the weekend and then do it all over again every week. So it's going to be crazy, but so much fun, and I'm really thankful for it.
And I don't think it's been announced yet, so you don't have to say it, but you lost on Hawaii. So does SEC Nation at least get to go somewhere cool for week 1?
Yeah, so it has been announced. We're going to Arkansas for Cincinnati, Arkansas, and we're pretty excited.
You're saying Arkansas is exciting? I got to stop you, Laura.
I know. Well, we're pretty excited about it because it is a college football playoff team from last year in Cincinnati against the Razorbacks, and it'll be a fun atmosphere there. I will say, Arkansas fans are crazy. They're so much fun. I mean, they just come out in droves. So we're expecting a really fun atmosphere in that week 1 show. And I would just say, get excited because we are definitely coming to Vandy this year. I can't tell you exactly when. It's going to be announced soon, but we will be in Nashville for sure. So we cannot wait to bring the show back to Nashville and hope for a ton of it to come out and work.
I love that. And we'll have to get you in studio whenever you're here for that.
Yeah,
we'll have to catch
exactly.
up. That would be fun. But got to remember, we're on CBS Sports Radio right now, so you can't be too harsh. But a couple days ago, CBS Sports, they were trolling on Thursday with the SEC on CBS Music for the Big Ten. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my goodness, I know. It's hard to wrap our minds around any of this music being different. And I was talking to some of our bosses at ESPN even because the SEC is coming to ESPN in 2024. And I'm like, is there any way we can just buy that music? They're like, you don't have any idea how expensive that would be.
It didn't feel right. It did not feel right hearing that and then seeing the Big Ten.
Like,
it did not.
Right. I'm like, I can't even imagine watching an SEC game without the music. And so I think everyone feels that way, and it's so iconic. And it's hard because, that's the beauty of college sports is that we get so accustomed to things being one way, and that's the sound of Saturday to us, so many different platforms. And so for everyone to imagine it changing is really hard, and I'm with everyone. I mean, I can't even process it myself. So I don't know. I hate to say, I just don't feel good about the music thing, but I really don't. I feel like it just messes everything up. So fans out there that agree, I'm with them.
Yeah, no, I tweeted something, and people were like, oh, calm down. It's like, no, that's just what you grow up with. It's what you grow up with. That's how it is.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I really appreciate you joining me, Laura. Again, This is Power Hour with Sami Kincaid, Laura Rutledge on the phone with me. And again, Laura, thank you so much for calling in. And we'll have to get you in studio, like we said, whenever you're here at Vanderbilt for SEC Nation.
I love it. Thanks again, Sammy, and congratulations on everything.
Thank you. And again, you're listening to the Power Hour with Sami Kincaid in the Strike and Spare studio. Calling on the Cure hotline, 615-844-5600. We got a couple guests in studio. Coming up next, we have head coach Chris Hughes from Fairview High School, and we'll talk about how he's empowering the next generation of young women. We'll be right back.
Hey Nashville, Ray here. Many of us suffer with anxiety when going to the dentist. You guys need to go check out my amazing friends over at Bite Dentistry. Bite Dentistry is where my family goes for all our dental care. Their mission is to help patients breathe better, smile bigger, and live longer by offering a comprehensive selection of services and total dental care for every member of your family. Bite Dentistry is the only dentist in town trained and certified to offer the Vivos method that helps with people who grind their teeth at night or snore that causes sleep apnea. What's great about the Vivos methods is that it's provided for both kids and adults. They also work with a company called Guard Lab, which creates custom mouth guards, which are the same mouth guards used by professional football players. Located at 3212 West End Avenue, Suite 301, Nashville, you can set an appointment by calling them at 615-866-2129. That's 615-866-2129, and follow them on social media and online at bitedds.com. Again, that's bitedds.com.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention! If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-297-0674 to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-297-0674. That's 800-297-0674. Again, 800-297-0674.
Hey, Braves fan, it's time for baseball, and that means it's time to cheer on the World Series defending champions, the Atlanta Braves, in the 2022 season. Attorney Klein Preston of the Klein Preston Law Group wants you to join him in cheering on the World Series defending champions, the Atlanta Braves, for the start of the 2022 season. Here's to another amazing season for Braves country here on your home for the Atlanta Braves. Nashville Sports Radio.
Dry rub wings are back at Slim Chickens. Fresh, fried, and full of flavor. Like smooth and kickin' cayenne ranch, zesty lemon pepper, or turn it up with new spicy Nashville hot. Try them today with a meal or feed your hungry crowd. But hurry, they're only back for a limited time. At Slim's, bold flavor is what we do. Download the Slim Chickens app to order and earn rewards.
Get all your NASCAR news every weekday right here on the Final Lap. Hey, it's Kerry Murphy, and Kevin Harvick did it again, going back-to-back. 2 wins now in 2022. Up next is the Bad Fast Road Course at Watkins Glen. So grab all the latest NASCAR news, race recaps, driver reviews, stats, and info every single weekday right here.
Hi, this is Kevin Harvick, and you're listening to The Final Lap with Kerry Murphy.
Listen to our NASCAR talk show called The Final Lap Weekly wherever you get your podcasts. Every single weekday right here.
Now, This Girl Can, featuring your local female athlete of the week.
So, as you can see, it is not a female. If you're watching the live stream, it is not a female sitting in the chair with me right now. But he is empowering, really impacting the next generation of young women in the greater Nashville area, I
want to be athlete of the week, though. I like that.
I mean, I was at one of your practices this past week, and I mean, you're up there. He was dropping some dimes at practice. So I have with me head coach Chris Hughes from Fairview High School. And, Coach, welcome into Power Hour with Sami Kincaid.
Thank you, Sammy. Thank you.
And also, if anyone wants to call in on the Cure hotline, 615-844-5600, we'll be taking calls as well if you want to talk to head coach Chris Hughes. But while we're in here, what are we talking about? He's known for flag football himself, but he's also coaching
High
young
school girls flag football.
Yeah, so tell me about it. How did it get started?
Yeah, it's such a big. I've been pushing the TSSAA and for like 10 years to start high school girls flag football. Georgia had it, Florida had it, New Jersey has it. So there's some in 7 states right now, Texas. So it's booming, and all these people I know from across the country are coaching these teams, and they have these high school girls. And then when they get out of high school, now the D3s and the NAIA are offering scholarships for them to come and play. So I had 2 girls that were offered a scholarship last year. Didn't take it, but offered. But anyway, it's so big. And finally, the TSSAA would never respond to my emails. They would say, we don't have room we can't fit this into the women's sports schedules, because women play volleyball, then they play girls basketball, then they play softball. That's the schedule. So Josh Corey with the Tennessee Titans reached out to Darren Joins at Williamson County and wanted to start a league, just Williamson County schools, as a test run. So kind of like we're gonna see how it goes, and it was everything plus. Ravenwood, Brentwood, Fairview, Franklin, Summit, Independence. Everyone had a team, and we all played each other. We did it on Sunday afternoons, so it didn't interfere with other sports, and we did like 3 teams at a location. So we would have Fairview, Independence, and Ravenwood would be at Fairview. We'd play each other 1 time each, and it would be 2 games on Sunday, and it turned out awesome. And the Titans were so gracious. They hosted the championship games, and it was a great atmosphere, a lot of people, and the girls got to see themselves playing on the Jumbotron at Titan Stadium, which was awesome for them. So.
That's a really cool experience for them. And what were some of them saying? Were you having to try to calm them down, like, hey guys, we got a game to play still?
They're all looking up at the screen all the time, seeing if they're on there and what they're doing. But when that game started, and I tell people this all the time, the girls are as competitive or more competitive than boys. They weren't worried about anything except trying to score and trying to stop the other team from scoring. And I was worried about coaching girls because I'm a very sarcastic coach, and I rib and tease my players a lot. And I was like,
you sarcastic?
Yeah,
wait, what?
A little bit. I was told not to be so sarcastic, but the girls, I was like, are they going to start crying? Or is this going to be like, are they going to be offended? So I was real nervous. And my wife, Stephanie, who plays on my co-ed travel team, she was my assistant coach, and Big Tim Campbell, who plays center for me. So she was there to kind of help with the girls. I think it's good to have a girl coach there so they can, feel that. And she coached them in track in middle school. But these girls responded so good, and they handled me better than the boys do. They were like, Coach, you ain't bothering me. Like, I'm, so they're really tough. And we had some great talent. I wish you could have seen. There are girls in that league that could actually put pads on and play and compete. And it's crazy to think that, but they've always been stuck on the sidelines in football. So with flag, they get to experience it and play it just like it. It is the same type game without all of the contact, although we did have a girl get stitches. We had a girl get a broke finger. I mean, things happen. So it was awesome season.
Yeah, and at practice, you told me how they actually took the sarcasm better than your guys.
Yeah, they do. In fact, they give it back. So it was like, they were like,
did it feel like you were at home?
Yeah, pretty much. And that's the thing. It was very comfortable and very late. The season was so fun that I had girls saying, this was better than, I'd rather do this than play these other sports. Like, this is so much fun, because that's what it's all about. Because here's the thing. Flag football is something that when you get out of high school, even if you don't go to college and play, there are tournaments all over the country. There's a tournament in Oklahoma today. There's 2 tournaments in Texas. There's a tournament in Orlando. We could go to any of those tournaments and play. And there's rec leagues here with mid-state sports leagues, national sports leagues. They have women's leagues. They have co-ed leagues. So girls have a chance to advance. And I know I have a junior, Lillian McElroy, who is a stud. And she is one of the best soccer players around. But she loves flag, and she said, I'm going to do it. When I get out, I'm going to travel around. I said, well, if I'm still able to walk, you can travel with us. So.
You're limping a little bit.
I am. I got a knee to fix eventually. I'm going to wait till the season's over. Thanks for noticing my limp. I've been taking a lot of slack from people for my limp. I try not to, but it's wearing me down. So.
Yeah. So before we came on, you were talking about nationally, some of the women that you play with, have you ever reached out to them and said, "Hey, I've got this team at my high school," and try to help connect? Or
Oh, they reach out to me. Listen, the women's national team, the USA national team, which is comprised of the best women in the United States, and they are some studs. Mariah Gearhart, who was a super softball player at Oklahoma State, Nadia Bibbs, Mary Kate Bullitt, all of these women not only advocate for it, they push and they help in any way they can. A lot of them are coaching high schools, and if they're not, they're assisting. North Carolina, they're pushing for it. The Florida girls and Texas girls are already got it in their states. So they are the biggest advocates, and they are so competitive and so good. Like, it's disheartening to me that I'm at quarterback and one of these women rushes in and pulls my flag before I can do anything. I'm like, you should be able to run around, and you cannot get late. They are fast and you would be amazed to watch them. And I would encourage people to go look at any of the girls. The games are online. Everything's online now, so you can watch all of those. But the women's game has taken off. It is I don't know if you know this, the fastest growing women's sport in the country. And flag football is booming. And girls are going to have a chance to play what's been known as a guy's game.
And it's booming. It's going to be booming here in Nashville. Metro's taking it on this year as well. So how did that kind of come
the
about?
Tennessee Titans reached out to Davidson County since it worked so well as a pilot program with Williamson County, and now Metro will have it. Now, they will play each other in the regular season. We will play each other, and they're finalizing what that's going to look like at Titan Stadium for the championship. It may be our winner versus their winner. It may be top four. They haven't decided that yet, but when they figure that out, it will. But the good thing is our girls are still going to get to play, and the experience is awesome. And I mean, I absolutely love. That is such a good time for me. I had so much fun coaching the girls team, and the girls told me the other day that they'll have a chance to win a state championship before I win one with my boys. So you were there last night, and I was like, and they teased the boys. So they say, "Hey, we'll win a football state championship before you." So they have a lot of ribbing with each other, but it's a great thing.
What would you say is the biggest difference in coaching the guys and then the girls?
I think the main thing is the girls' competitiveness is to a point where I can't control girls as well. Like the guys, I can go, "Hey, come here, don't you do that like that." And with the girls, I'm like, "Hey, please stop that. Like, what are you? You're like, I'm gonna punch you in the face." I'm like, "No, you're not. Like, don't do it." So that competitive side, when they get like that, I kind of like steer over and go, "Hey, Steph, talk to her. She's got to calm down." Like, and it's weird because there is some contact, but even the other girls, they're some of them are nasty and some of them will come at you, but the competitive side of it, calming them down is not my strength, and I want to keep them, in line. It looks, and that doesn't happen often, but I absolutely love their competitive spirit and their wanting to be great. I've got a quarterback that's a sophomore who'll be a junior named Addie Sullivan. She sat on the sideline at practice 2 days ago and goes, "Coach, I can strap that up and throw that football." And I said, "I know you can, Abby." I said, "You got other sports going on right now." And Lillian said we had our kicker had an injury, and Lillian, the soccer player, she goes, "Coach, I can kick that ball through those uprights." And I was
You think you'll let her one game?
I don't know. We talk about it. I've got another kicker, so I don't want to stick it out. But the soccer coach would absolutely strangle me if she pulled a muscle kicking a football through. So Coach Sizemore has to have her. So I don't know if I will do that. But it's so great that they now have the confidence to say, "You know what? I can play with those boys out there." And honestly, and I'm not slighting them, but they are better than some of my boys. So it is what it is. Times are changing.
They are changing. And just whenever you are seeing them have that confidence, and then you're also playing with some of the greatest in the game, how cool is it to see that maturation of them from going from high school and then seeing how they're kind of growing into.
That's so weird because the top teams in the nation, Mean Machine is the name of my team, and we won the co-ed nationals in 2007, 2008, and 2009. I know that seems like a long time ago, but to me it's not. And we've been competing ever since. But it's funny because now the high school game is a recruiting tool for these coaches like it won't. Like this, there's a high school coach in Georgia named Zach Desmarius at Kennesaw, and he coaches the high school team, and then 3 or 4 of those girls now are playing on his co-ed team, and they're a lot better. Like, those girls are really good. So it's like kind of like we're growing the game, but we're also improving the talent. Like these girls are coming up out of high school, and they're going to end up taking the place of these. And I'll tell you another one, Canada, which is weird, has a young high school girls team that comes to these tournaments and plays with the adults and gets after it and are really good. So it's amazing to me here. Another one, Ava Wallace, a Texas quarterback. If you have a chance to Google her, she is on Team USA for the youth and is an absolutely amazing quarterback at 15 years old. That is crazy to me.
Yeah. Well, again, you're listening to Power Hour with Sami Kincaid. Right now, joined with head coach Chris Hughes over at Fairview, coaching the girls' flag football team. And if you want to call in, the Cure hotline is 615-844-5600. We're hanging out in the Strike and Spare studio. And last night, you brought up the game. We're not going to talk about the game, but before or during the game, we mentioned a student athlete of the week. And she actually is a quarterback for one of the Williamson County schools. We won't say the team that you played last night. We won't bring up any wounds.
So Paige's quarterback was the athlete of the week for them?
Yes.
Really?
And she had a 4.20 GPA. So what does it really say? Do you really see that with your girls as well, how they're not just killing it out on the field, but they're really also doing really well in the classroom?
Listen, I'm in Williamson County. I play with the Beta Club. So when I'm in football, I'm playing with the Beta Club. When I'm in girls flag, I'm playing with the Beta Club. These girls make their grades, and they care about academics, and they know that's getting them places. So times have changed when I'm not going to do my work. That is not fly anymore. So and I like them because they're driven. They want to do great. And I will say this, we beat that Paige quarterback. So our girls flag team beat Paige. Our boys lost to Paige last night. So, again, the girls have a step up on the bragging. Maybe I did a better job coaching the flag than I did the football. So I'll take the blame. But it was exciting. But she is a good quarterback, and they had a good team. They made it to the final, the championship.
Yeah.
And got
runner-up.
Yeah, got destroyed by Ravenwood. Ravenwood beat us by 7-6, and then they beat Paige 42-7. So I know we should have got there, and we had a chance. I had a young girl. We had a chance, and we let it get away. But our girls are even hungrier. So they're like that with the boys. They're already talking about, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and we're going to come back stronger. We're going to beat them next year, and they know who's graduating and who's not. So it's kind of like the guys all know that, but now I hear the girls talking about the same type of things.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you mentioned Lillian. Who are a couple other young women for people to look out for?
My quarterback last year was Summer Anderson, was amazing. And this year, Addie Sullivan, and some other girls we have, but everybody does it great as a team.
All right, and we're up on a break, so we'll be back.
Sorry, dude, I just talk.
Nashville's first curling venue is here at T-Line Nashville. Come check out T-Line Nashville and experience the world's fastest growing winter sport today. Curling is a fun and simple sport that's a perfect outing for friends, corporate events, families, or parties. T-Line also has classic bowling and modern bowling mini games. With over 20 HD TVs, you can come watch your favorite teams and some of the best food and drinks here in Nashville in the large bar and grill area. They also have an outdoor area with a fire pit, and you can't forget the live music. T-Line Nashville is a one-stop shop for a great night out. Located at 106 Duluth Avenue and online at tlinenash.com. You can book your party now or give them a call at 615-439-1024. That's 615-439-1024. And make sure you give them a follow on Instagram and Facebook at T-Line Nash for all the news, events, and updates. T-Line Nashville. Nashville's first curling venue is here.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-785-9132. That's 800-785-9132. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-785-9132.
Fantasy football isn't just a game, it's a way of life. And with the NFL Fantasy app, your life just got way better. Get all the touchdowns, fantasy points, and bragging rights all in one place. It's free and easy to play. Just sign up and draft. Optimize your lineup with one click and watch exclusive player stories. From the stars you know to sleepers who can win you your league. NFL Fantasy. We live for this. Download the NFL Fantasy app today.
That's the sound of a crack in the ceiling found at a home inspection. But with a Realtor by your side, a newfound leak might only cause minor worries. With their expertise, a Realtor can suggest a credit at closing and even connect you to a contractor to help you shore up that leak and alleviate your worries. When it comes to cracks in your plans, the expertise of a Realtor can make all the difference. The difference between an agent and a Realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
This is the Greg Pogue and John Burton Show.
DW, how you doing, my friend? Daryl. One thing I think we've learned is how many race fans are in the Nashville market. This is racing territory. For all those people that have sat back and hoped and wished and prayed that the Cup cars would come back, well, they're going to come back to Lebanon, and eventually I think they'll be back at the fairgrounds.
Greg Pogue and News Channel 5's John Burton, WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
And now it's time to shine the spotlight on this week's coach or player from college to the pros. This is Shattered Ceilings.
Welcome back into the Strike and Spare studio for Power Hour with Sami Kincaid. I'm Sami Kincaid, and you can call in on the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. Again, that's 615-844-5600. And we have another guest in studio, Vanderbilt Athletics, Aisha Evans. How you doing today, Aisha?
I'm doing well. How are you this morning?
I'm doing really good. So first off, during Shattered Ceilings, if you have not heard this segment before, it is a segment where we're talking about how you've shattered some ceilings in your career, how you've gotten to where you are.
Right.
So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about you, give a little bit of your background.
I would love to. So first-generation college student, actually. So I went to Western Carolina University, go Cats, in the mountains of Cullowhee, double major in communications and sport management. Graduated and just tried to work as hard as I could, as fast as I could, to kind of mature in this industry. From the Greenville Drive internship there, back to Cullowhee, and then got a really big break when I was an intern for UConn. So that was really awesome, and just had full-time jobs ever since.
So were you at UConn? So for those that, I mean, you heard she's with Vanderbilt Athletics, but she works directly with, one of the teams she works with is women's basketball. So were you at UConn with Shay Ralph?
I was not even close to being in her sphere. I was a secondary contact for women's basketball. But there is a photo of me with her in it, and Kyla, who was a director of community relations on our staff as well, when we were in Tampa for the Final Four. So there's evidence of me being around them. Not sure they knew my name at that point, though.
I'm sure with talking to Shay Ralph a couple of times, I'm sure she knew. She is very, very aware of those around her.
She is, yes.
So how did you is that how you got to Vanderbilt? Did she call you up, or how did that come about? If you're saying she didn't know, obviously she knew. You came with her.
Yes, it was actually very, very crazy, wild time for me. I'm very fortunate, honestly, to have made some really impactful connections during my time in this industry. I was working at the University of Kansas prior to, and was just looking to transition back closer to home. I had, was in a very committed relationship with a newborn at the time, and we just needed to be grounded again. So I was actually teetering with the idea of going back to UConn. And then Alan George, my boss, shout out to Alan, he called me and was like, hey, what would you think about interviewing for this position? And it was an arms race till the very end between Pat, my old boss at UConn, and Alan, and it just fit me and my lifestyle at that point to come back to kind of, I guess, the South, if you will. Is Tennessee the South? I don't know.
It absolutely is the South. What? It is absolutely the South.
Listen, North Carolina, born and raised, so I didn't know where that kind of line stopped, if you will. But, yeah. And it was cool. I got to talk with Shay, and, she, at the very end, it always has stayed with me. She said, I would like to work with you. I've never had a coach compliment me like that, come at me like that, and just for her to have said that meant a lot. So,
and for those that don't know what, I don't even think we have said it yet. You're the sports information director for women's basketball, for track.
Yes.
And
both of our cross-country teams.
Yes. So what is, I know what an SID, we say an SID, sports information director.
Yes.
But for those that don't know what that position is, because it's a very critical position in an athletic department. So how would you describe it?
Yeah, so I would describe it as a really, really cool job. What we get to do is impact the lives of our student athletes with internal and external stakeholders. And I know that that's a really Webster definition, if you will, but from pitching stories to local media, with having Jordan on with you last week, to getting to work with them internally. So making sure that we're pitching stories inside and outside, some social media there as well, and pretty much all of our online publications. So making sure that when you click on Jordan Cambridge's roster file, you can understand what kind of impactful player that she is. So,
and you gave the Webster definition. I'll give the
yes.
The I'm trying to think of what is it where it's like the slang.
Oh
definition.
yeah.
It's the person you need to know if you want to find out anything. You have to get in with the SID. They know the ins and outs of everything, and especially as a broadcaster. Whenever I was I was the analyst for some of the Vandy women's basketball games this past year. And as soon as I found out Aisha's name, I said, that's who I need to get close with, because that's how I'm going to find the ins and outs of this program.
Oh, yeah. We love helping with pronunciations as well. Just if you have any questions, just let us know.
But you really get to see the team off the court.
Yeah.
So how cool is that to really help them? And you're really helping them find and promote their own brands.
Yeah, it is something that I think, especially with the NIL space lately, that has taken this job to a new level. Recently, we did a photo shoot in the streets of Nashville, if you will, with our women's basketball team promoting our non-conference schedule. And it was cool. They got to dress how they wanted to dress. No mandates from us, as long as we're a Nike school, so make sure you're in Nike apparel. But with that caveat, they came out with some cool ideas and the way they dressed, and getting to see them in their element, I think, was really cool. So we're going to definitely do more of that. But it's really eye-opening, because they have so many opportunities at their disposal now that if we get to help facilitate that in any way, that's the part that is really rewarding for us and what we get to do.
That's fantastic, and I love how you just really gave a Nike endorsement.
Yes.
I'm looking for some sponsors on this show, so I like how you just threw that out there. I'm decked out in Nike right now, so
me too.
Nike, if you're listening.
Yes, come get us, okay? Come get us.
And you mentioned that your degree is in communications.
Yes.
You do have a little bit of a broadcasting background.
Just a little bit.
You look pretty comfortable behind that mic right now, so let's hear about it.
No, I appreciate that. So when we were at Western, we had to do kind of some tracks. So you had the written side, the digital media side, and then broadcasting as well. So that is when I thought that I was going to shoot my way up to the top of ESPN and be sideline reporter and all that good stuff. So I did a little show on the weekends on our radio back in Cullowhee. It probably hit like 5 people, but it was really cool.
Hey, 5 is better than, I mean, we might have 1 on the live stream right now.
Absolutely. But yeah, it was cool. My friends used to prank me and call in, and I was on another friend's show where I told like random dad jokes. And so yeah, it was awesome to just get to do that. I steered away from it for a while, but this is really cool to be with a familiar face behind the mic.
Absolutely. And earlier you mentioned that you had a newborn. She's now about 1.
Yes. Yeah, she'll be 2 in December.
So we had Laura Rutledge on earlier in the show, and we talked to her about being a mom.
Yeah.
Quick thoughts. We're up on a break.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you're going to stick with us, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that whenever we come back from the break. You're listening to Power Hour with Sami Kincaid. I have Aisha Evans in studio with me in the Strike and Spare studio. Phone on the Cure hotline, 615-844-5600. And we'll be right back after this.
enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
If you are a man over 40, listen up, because this could impact how much you're getting done during the day and at night. The harsh reality is, once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. Here's the good news. Nugenix, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC, has changed the game again for men over 40 with Nugenix Total T. And guys all over America are raving about it. Jeremy P. says, this is the best product I found to raise T levels. And how about Shane D? He says, I had no drive and was tanked out at the end of the day. After 3 months, my energy level is through the roof. I work out like most 19-year-olds. I am 47. Guys over 40, you need Nugenix Total T. And right now, you can get a complimentary bottle. Just text BEACH to 321321. It's the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. But you can only get your complimentary bottle by texting BEACH to 321321. That's BEACH to 321321. Text BEACH to 321321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Paid for by Bar Justice. Attention. Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with cancer after using Zantac or other heartburn medications for several months? The FDA has warned that Zantac and other medications containing heartburn drug ranitidine may be contaminated with cancer-causing agent NDMA. Zantac may be linked to these cancers: bladder, colorectal, esophageal, intestinal, kidney, liver, ovarian, pancreatic, stomach, testicular, and uterine. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with cancer after using Zantac or other heartburn medications for several months, call now. 800-516-9931. Never stop taking medication without first consulting a physician. Call right now for a free consultation. You may be owed significant compensation. Call 800-516-9931. 800-516-9931. That's 800-516-9931. 800-516-9931.
Golfers, swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new arrivals from Cobra, featuring the new LTDX drivers, engineered for the longest total distance with extreme forgiveness. Internal weights create the power core, and hot face technology delivers faster ball speeds at every contact point. 4 drivers to fit every golfer's needs. Swing by Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, and shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
From the big game to the big dance, Bar Lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel downtown is your game day and watch party headquarters. Don't worry about entertaining guests and trying to feed everyone. Sit back, relax, cheer on your team, and let the Bar Lines staff take care of you. Grab a Bar Lines signature cocktail and enjoy some wicked deviled eggs, or a Bar Lines double stack, and finish it off with some Jack and Coke chocolate cake. Bust your belly and your bracket at Bar Lines, located in the Omni Nashville Hotel, 5th Avenue, downtown.
WNSR Nashville Sports Radio is your Middle Tennessee home for the best high school football coverage. Join me, Joe Fisher, along with Greg Pogue and the WNSR crew every Friday night for the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Game of the Week. Each week, we're hitting the road and giving you the best coverage of the best high school football in Middle Tennessee. It's the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Game of the Week every Friday night on your home for high school football. WNSR Nashville Sports Radio.
We're checking out the headlines, the highlights, and the stories from the world of women's athletics. Time to go around the hour.
Welcome back into the Strike and Spare studio. You're listening to Power Hour with Sami Kincaid, and I am joined with Vanderbilt Athletics, Aisha Evans. And you know what? I'm going to make producer Devlin hop on the mic this segment. Devlin, how you doing over there?
Doing good. As you know, I haven't had my morning coffee today, so
you know, I normally text everyone and say, hey, you want something? I'll stop on the way in. Man. And Devlin always says no, so I just left him out of the text. See? And then he texts me as I'm getting onto the interstate.
Just happened to be the one day I needed
coffee. Listen. Well, you missed your window, man. You got it.
I know. It's a shame. I'll make sure it won't happen again.
Yeah.
All right, but before we get into what I'm bringing Devlin in for, right before the break, I had mentioned you have a 1-year-old. We talked to Laura Rutledge. She's also a newborn mom. So how do you kind of juggle an SID? You're on call 24/7. So how do you really juggle being a new mom and also your job?
That's a tough one, Sammy. So honestly, I don't think I've figured out a great way yet, but I'm grateful that Coach Ralph has a daughter herself, so she kind of understands the nuances that come with that. So Mia comes with me everywhere. She's at home games. She gets to go to certain away games and on our trips. So I'm very fortunate in that regard. But I think balancing it, you can definitely see if you were in my house, a live feed, I have Mia on one hip and my computer on the other, and she definitely hates it. She slaps at the computer all the time, and she's like, Mom. So it's a fine balance, but just having intentional time with her, I think, is what makes up for it.
That's really cool. And Devlin, if you want to hop in on this next one, I asked Laura Rutledge earlier kind of how you think Vandy's going to fare. Obviously, I mean, it's your employer, so you're going to say we're going to win every game.
Yes. NCAA tournament. Here we come.
Well, I'm talking football.
Oh, man.
Talking football.
Yes.
So that's not your sport that you technically deal with. So how do you think Vandy does either?
Yeah.
How do you think Vandy does this season?
So I can definitely say I don't think they're going to do great. But
do you think they win more than 2 games this season?
Yes, I was going to say I did put money on them to actually win over 2 games this season. I'm crossing my fingers. I mean, you got to win 2 games. Please win 2 games. That's all I need. At least give me my money back. That's fine.
I think they could do it early on. As I was saying with Laura, that mid-season, it's a little bit of a rough stretch with Bama, Ole Miss, then Georgia. But those first 4 non-conference, hopefully they can get at least 3 of those.
I agree. I think it's the out-of-conference games that'll help them out. But, those in-conference games, there's no chance.
Oh, no. The SEC is tough, and we're fortunate enough to be in a really, really strong conference. So, but I'll tell you, like Coach Ralph says, culture eats strategy for lunch. And what Clark Lee is doing in that football program is awesome. So I definitely am with you. No betting, of course. NCAA, no betting on my part. I am with you that we can definitely do more than 2 games this season, for sure.
And just everything at Vanderbilt Athletics, it's really taken off right now.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's strong. Candace Lee is doing a great job.
Awesome. Okay, Devlin, as the subject you knew I was going to throw at you. Last week he thought he got off easy, and I said, how did I not bring Devlin in whenever we were talking about the Browns, Deshaun Watson? I mean, we have to talk about it. It's a show that's highlighting women in sports. I don't like talking about it, but it's a must on this show. And Devlin, you got away last week. There's been more news about it. What are your thoughts?
You know, it's a touchy subject for all Browns fans, I think, because there's 2 sides of it. You know, you have the Browns fans that just really want to win games and will take the suspension, and you know they see him as a great quarterback. We're paying him all this money. We want to win games. We also have the people that are completely against it, and you can see from both sides. I mean, there's an argument for both sides. People that are completely despise this guy, don't want him on the team. It's really hard. It's really difficult. As far as where I stand, I'm really not sure. I mean, it's hard because Browns fans they just get a bad look. They just do. Like
if he was anybody else, though, I mean, people get banned from playing ever again for illegal substances.
Yeah.
And you're going to violate 25 plus women and you get 11 games and only 5 million, but to him, only 5 million.
I mean, for a guy that just got 250, I mean, that's
a slap on the wrist.
Found it in his couch money. Yeah. That's,
do you think it's ironic that?
I mean, I was fully expecting before the first suspension that he would get a full year, and I would have been more than happy with that. Like it's what he deserves. It's what should have happened. I mean, indefinitely should have been the number or name that he got or the title. And you know, but yeah, for it to go from 6 to 11 is honestly it's kind of a joke, in my opinion.
And with the Browns, so last week we were talking about the Browns starting him in the preseason game and him getting some play time. What do you think that says? Being a Browns fan, how does that make you feel towards the organization?
You know, I don't really think my stances on our organization have really changed much. I've always despised the front office and everything they've ever done.
Tell us how you really feel, Devlin.
Let the truth out.
I wish I would have just grown up a Bengals fan. That's how I really feel. I mean, life would be just so much easier.
Do you think it's ironic, though, that his first game back will be against Houston?
Yeah, I think it's kind of fun. I mean, like, I think that's one of the reasons they gave him 11 games so he can play against Houston and get those numbers up. It doesn't surprise me, to say the least.
All right, well, we got to end the show on a little bit happier of a note. So we're 1 week out from college football starting. What's the big game you're excited to watch? I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what Aisha's going to say.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I know that this is gonna be very weird for me since I work in college athletics. I am not a big college football girl. It's so
I'm guessing basketball.
Yeah, I will watch basketball through and through. I'll watch.
Where do y'all travel to this year?
Oh, we've got some cool trips. Our Thanksgiving trip, Cancun.
Oof. I got to find a way on that.
Yeah,
one.
please. Yeah, strong trip. Strong trip.
All right. So since you're not really with it with football, what's your game?
Not biased as an Ohio kid, not biased.
No, here we go.
But week 1 matchup versus Notre Dame, I think, is the biggest matchup in college football in week 1. Again, it's a night game. Not biased as a Buckeye fan. Best matchup to look forward to, 100%.
I love it.
It's strong.
That is a strong one.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you think Vandy's going to do against Hawaii? How did you not get on that trip? You work in athletics.
I know. And
how did you not get on it?
I just want to say, Josh Foster, I'm really mad at you because he's gone twice to Hawaii with baseball and now with football. I'm upset.
I think Vandy will have a great time in Hawaii. Players and staff. They'll have fun there. It's going to be paradise. That's about as far as I can say.
I'm saying dub. I'm calling it.
All right. I like it. Well, thank you so much, Aisha, for joining me. And thank you to Ted and Adam Johnson. And you've been listening to the Power Hour with Sami Kincaid. And thank you again to head coach Chris Hughes and Laura Rutledge for coming on the show earlier today, and all of you for listening. That's it. We'll see you next week.
It's time to get you ready for all the weekend's biggest sporting events from the